In May 2016, the athletic directors from Colorado and North Dakota State agreed to a football game to be played 8 years later. Colorado, CU, would pay North Dakota State, NDSU, $700,000 to bring their Bison to Folsom Field. Now that long-awaited game will finally take place. But with a twist, what was planned as a Saturday clash has been moved to a Thursday night, all for ESPN's primetime spotlight. But this might not be the ideal way for CU to start year 2 of the Deion Sanders era, considering the struggles they faced in his first season. Odds makers have given CU a 9.5-point edge, but NDSU is no pushover. The Bison have a history of ruining the non-conference schedules of their bigger, wealthier hosts, winning 5 of their last 6 road games against FBS opponents. Their most famous upset? A 23-21 victory over number 13 Iowa in 2016. Much has changed since that 2016 contract was signed. CU has a new conference, having left the Pac-12 for the Big 12. And both programs have gone through multiple head coaches. However, some things have stayed the same. The athletic directors who inked the original deal, Rick George, CU, and Matt Larson, NDSU, are still at their respective schools, and NDSU remains one of the top FCS programs in the country. In a recent interview, Larson expressed his admiration for CU's commitment to the agreement, especially given how the Bison have become a tougher draw for FBS schools. "I have a ton of respect for them for that," said Larson, who expects around 7,000 NDSU fans to make the 900-mile journey from Fargo to Boulder. Back in 2016, NDSU was already a dominant force in FCS, having just completed a 3-peat as national champions. The possibility of them moving up to FBS was real, and the contract reflected that had NDSU joined the FBS before the game, their payment would have doubled to $1.4 million. Financially, though, the deal hasn't aged well. The $700,000 CU promised 8 years ago has the buying power of just $534,622 today, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But what no one could have predicted was that NDSU's opponent would be coached by Deion Sanders, whose star power brings a different kind of value to the game. Larson is content with the trade-off, noting, "So, it is not an additional $700,000, but it is added national exposure." To cover the additional costs of moving the game to Thursday, CU did agree to increase NDSU's payout to $740,000. This game might be one of the last of its kind for NDSU unless they move up to FBS. The team's next FBS matchup is set for 2028 against Oregon, a game originally scheduled for 2020. For that, NDSU will be paid $650,000. As more FCS schools take on 2 FBS away games per year for financial reasons, it has become harder for teams like NDSU to find willing FBS opponents. The expansion of the college football playoff to 12 teams this season only adds to the difficulty, as power conference schools are now incentivized to schedule tougher early season matchups within the FBS. "I hope it doesn't get to the point where some of these FBS schools just decide not to play FCS," Larson said. In many ways, NDSU is already operating like an FBS program. The Bison reported $6.4 million in total football revenues for the 2023 fiscal year, more than at least 20 FBS schools. Their ticket sales alone brought in $3.72 million, outpacing 42% of public FBS programs. Over the past 12 years, the school has invested $110 million in athletic facilities, including a $54 million football practice venue that opened in 2022. Unlike most FCS programs, NDSU also fully funds Alston and cost of attendance payments for its athletes. "I think our football team on any given Saturday can match up and hold their own, but there is a lot more to it than that," Larson noted. "If we were to transition to FBS now, I don't know if any of us know what the rules of engagement are." Larson often describes NDSU as an FBS program in FCS clothing. Given the school's success and resources, it's a fitting analogy. And for now, This fashion-forward approach might be the best path forward. I feel better where we are today than a majority of FBS programs outside your Power 4 conferences, Larson said. In recent years, NDSU has increasingly relied on destination games against other FCS schools at neutral sites. Last year, they opened their season against Eastern Washington at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Next year, the Bison will start with back-to-back games against the Citadel in Charleston, SC, and Tennessee State in Nashville. As for future FBS games, NDSU's next available slot is in 2027. So far, there have been no takers. Philosophically, we want to play those games, Larson said. Our deputy AD, he literally will reach out to every FBS program that has a common open date to inquire. And it has just been a challenge. So, if any readers are interested, we are definitely open